Biscuits with Bosses is supported in part by Off Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Listeners might enjoy the Off Duty Producer t shirt if you are an entrepreneur like me, especially when attending film festivals or markets. Imagine you're at a networking event and you want to start shaking hands, but you don't know where to start. By wearing an Off Duty Producer shirt, you invite people to approach you and ask you about it. Now you're meeting more people in a shorter amount of time, but you also have the ability to keep the interaction brief. Just grab that contact info and make a date for a more thorough conversation over coffee or tea and biscuits. Right now, Off Duty currently offers apparel for actors, artists, cinematographers, composers, directors, designers, editors, musicians, producers, and writers. However, if you need a permission slip to say no, you can just choose the original Off Duty Thanks apparel. It's a wonderful gift for anyone looking to rest and rejuvenate. Just a heads up, everybody, these are adults having adult conversations, so there is the possibility of adult language. Hey there, party people. Welcome to Biscuits with Bosses by Owl Echo Entertainment. It's the podcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea and biscuits. I am your host, Kay Ross, writer, filmmaker, founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. Now, I have been in the industry in some form for the past 20 years. So theater, television, film, and I gotta tell you, I am still learning. I'm still growing. 6 years ago, I did move away from my hometown in Washington, D.C. in search for something more than just my original trajectory to become a production manager in television. Now, I chose Los Angeles to pursue the more creative side. I knew I wanted to write and direct, but honestly, I never imagined I would have to become an entrepreneur to do that. I'd have to become a boss. Since moving here, I've been on so many coffee dates and honestly just met some truly incredible people. But the industry moves so fast. So now is the time to share what I'm learning as I learn it. And I want to get to know the leaders in the industry the only way I know how. Ted Lasso style. Now, every week we chat with a new guest who is an active influence in the media industry. We get to see the human side behind the role. We get to celebrate our victories together on our way to that big success. And we get to explore what we can do to elevate how we do business, inside and out. So this podcast is intended for professionals in the entertainment industry, but also fellow entrepreneurs. We want to learn from each other. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink, tea, coffee, water, we don't judge here, and join us. Now, we would love to actually hear from you. So if you have anything you're celebrating, feel free to let us know. If you have any questions for our guests, just leave it in the comments below. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Biscuits with Bosses. Clearly, it's been a couple of days because I forgot to unmute myself. This is the live podcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea and maybe a couple of biscuits. I'm your host, as always, rocking my indie filmmaker t-shirt, Kay Ross, writer, filmmaker, founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. And if I might shout out to Lane, our producer, who prepped today's return to our regularly scheduled live. With me today, as always, my co-host, my Ed McMahon, my Gen Zer, keeping me cool, Mr. Matt York. So great to have you back, Matt.
Love to be here. Happy to be here. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for joining us, being in, dropping in.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows today's filmmaker has been like nervous to hear his own bio, but I'm like, I'm ready. I want you to hear it, Robert. With us today, Robert Flowers is a Mexican-American filmmaker, best known for genre-bending films within the sci-fi, thriller, horror space, and whose stories are rooted in characters straddling two different worlds, struggling to find their place. Robert is also a USA Today best-selling author of Snow Hill and has been a Blacklist recommended writer. As a director, he has won at the Big Apple Film Festival and the LA Sci-Fi Film Festival. And he recently won Best Thriller Suspense at the Chandler International Film Festival. And his work will soon be featured on the Sci-Fi channel Dust on YouTube later this year. Now, besides his narrative work, which, as if that was impressive enough, Robert has shot hundreds of heart surgeries all over the US and was part of the team that won an Emmy for the documentary The Latest Procedure. And apparently he's never fainted at the sight of blood except his own. Robert, welcome. But oh my God.
Thanks for having me, Kay. Yes, I learned that I do faint at the sight of my own blood the hard way. I was doing one of those little home kit things, and I poked my finger, and I keeled over right then and there. My wife had to come by, and yeah, that's how I learned. So,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah,
um,
yes,
I love that that's like your fun fact in your bio because considering that you're in the horror space, you'd imagine that you've seen a fair amount of blood. And even outside of that, the heart surgery is like you've seen
lots of
so
blood,
much blood.
lots of blood. I've seen open body cavities, the hip replacement, uh, when you had to crack you open, heart being held right above the body, very close. Like I'm talking like this close. I got a camera there. No issue whatsoever. The minute I poke a little dot in my finger, I just everything like sweats, nausea, keel over. So
You know what?
embarrassing.
I feel you though, because the moment I knew what my blood type was, and the moment the, Red Cross knew what my blood type was, I swear to God, they started like calling me monthly, like a jilted lover, going, "Are you gonna come back and donate more blood?" Because I'm a universal donor. Problem is that the first time I donated, I thought I was doing fine. I was like, "Oh, this is easy. Who gets woozy at blood loss?" And I looked over. It was like the rookie mistake, right? But I looked over at the bag and
Yep.
suddenly the idea that part of me was now in this bag, I had this immediate like out of body experience and it just sent my world spinning. So I
Yep.
get it and I have learned just don't look. Don't look, Ethel. Don't look.
Well, look, I told my phlebotomist, I'm like, I faint, tell me when,
Yeah.
and they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm a big guy. So like, if I fall over, they're coming with me. And yeah, it's not a fun time. So, um,
Matt, I'm gonna finally take you up on your request. What are you drinking today, sir? Because I've brought out my Wonder Woman cup. It's an epic brew.
Wow, that looks pretty cool.
Oh, I'll get into the description quickly. But wait, did I just find out earlier in our pregame that you are not a tea person? I feel like I knew that, but I didn't know that. So you're coffeeing it today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do drink tea. It's not that I'm like anti-tea. I just if I'm if I'm looking for caffeine, I go to coffee because that is just what I need, what I feel like works best. But I mean, like tea is good for me. It's just usually I drink tea at night. That's usually a calming nighttime activity. But caffeinated teas are good. They're just not strong enough. It's my American
yeah, I
brain.
drink coffee at night too. So it's coffee all the time.
Nice. Yeah, what are you drinking today, sir?
I'm drinking just another pot of coffee. I've been at this for a bit this morning. This is a post house. I'll throw them a little shout out. They did a post on the Garrison. They did post on a short I did about 6 years ago, and they gave me this mug after color timing the movie. So still have
Aw.
it. Yeah, I'm a sucker for
Awesome.
mugs. So yeah, yeah.
Same. Same.
I am too. Although when you mentioned that you like make mugs with like photos on them, I was like, you win, sir. I have
Yep.
not gone that far.
Got photos of my dog, my wife, and us. Like it's a little time capsule. And so yeah,
Aw.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
cute.
It's sentimental and silly, but
I mean, who better to be sentimental and silly with than your partner? Come on.
yes, exactly.
I feel like I tend to go geek. Like my mugs better say something, or So this is my Wonder Woman one.
Nice.
It's almost always like a two bagger. So I did my loose leaf tea today.
Oh, we're fancy.
I am. I'm a bougie bitch. Not always, but on those rare occasions where people are like, "We'll just get like coffee from 7-Eleven." I'm like, or I'll bring my own press. Move out.
Okay.
Honestly, it comes from a lifetime of having food restrictions. And so the moment I could choose, the bread I was eating or whether or not I was having dairy or, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I had to have those restrictions. So I just started exercising that choice across the board, whether or not I needed to. Yeah. So shout out to Geeky Teas. This is not an official anything, by the way, because Geeky Teas does this wonderful loose leaf tea. And even though it's a variety of chai, it's called Mutter's Milk.
Mutter's Milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume you've never seen Firefly then.
I have not. I've not watched a bunch of Firefly. No. So,
That's okay. I
add that to my list.
right, add it to the list. No one's gonna redact your sci-fi card for not watching Firefly.
Oh, I'm sure some people will, but it's okay.
Not all sci-fis are the same, so no shade. And for everybody who's attending right now, hey, let us know what you're drinking as well. Like, for all intents and purposes, this podcast, we're going to dive deep a little later, but we always like to have some like getting to know you time as well. And it's important that you guys know that this isn't like somehow conflating or misconstruing what we do in the industry when we're getting to know people. Like, we legitimately sit around and shoot the shit because at some point we don't have time to do that anymore. So when we have the time, like, take the time to actually like be people for a minute before you have to dive back into work. So just putting it out there that like, this is us being us. Okay. So I do want to do my first rapid fire getting to know you question though. Are you ready?
Okay. Hit me. Yes.
All right. In true Ted Lasso style, first concert, best concert.
Oh no, these are embarrassing.
That's great. We'll share too.
First concert. Oh God, I'm going to admit this. Okay. First concert. I'm going to hear about this forever. First concert, Paula Abdul.
That is
Beautiful.
so cool.
No, it's not. But I appreciate best concert. Oh, Warped Tour 97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I must be in the same generation because I remember the Warped Tour.
Yeah. And I'm from Phoenix, so Warped Tour 97 was in the summer. So it was 110, 115. They were gouging the price of water bottles. They were such dicks. And I think Bad Religion was playing, and I got up there, and Infected came on, and the mosh pit was off the charts. It was awesome.
I bet.
Yeah. I'm too old for that shit now, but at the time it was rad. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cheers to you.
I'm looking at the lineup of like each of the stages. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
It was awesome.
Matt, remind us who was the lineup on the Warped Tour.
I mean, it depends on where you're, like what stage or like when or you were playing. But I mean, there's on this for the 97, there was Blink 182, Pennywise, Real Big Fish, Offspring, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Limp Bizkit, Less Than Jake, The Descendants. What else do we have? MXPX.
The Warped Tours. The Warped Tours were so great then.
Not Jimmy Eat World. There's a bunch of them here.
Yeah, well, there's a string of years I went like every year, and it was again always in the summer for whatever reason. Those are fun times.
Admittedly, that was probably of the categories. That was actually probably one of my worst concerts because it was so big. I'd never really been to a concert that big before. I was a teenager going with other teenagers, and of course, they walked me into the field area, right, where the mosh is certainly going to happen.
Yeah.
Where, people are getting high and I'm not used to that smell. So the first time I was that close to someone smoking, I got the worst headache. And of course it's hot and I'm sweaty and I'm dehydrated and I've got the smell going on at the same time. And it was rough. But the music and the energy was next level. Just in the spirit of reciprocity. Matt, do you want to share your first concert, best concert? And I will do it.
Yes, let's hear it.
Yeah, sure. My first real concert, I saw Weird Al Yankovic.
Nice.
It was pretty fun. That was great. He did like a full 2-hour concert, like by himself, no opener or anything. And then my favorite concert was probably last year. I saw Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins and Rancid.
What?
and they had another opener, Linda's, I believe.
Oh.
And that was great. That was great for all the reasons I wanted it to be great, was because Rancid got rained out, Smashing Pumpkins had a reduced set, and then Green Day played their full set. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is probably the best one, because they were playing all of the album Dookie and then all of the album American Idiot in full back to back. So they were doing like a 2-hour show just by themselves, and then they had the two like openers before, and that was great. That's probably the best
Oh,
show.
that's rad. I remember hearing Dookie on the radio when Basket Case came out. I was in high school, and then Kerplunk was the album before that. Oh man, it's amazing that they've gone so far. Yeah, that's an awesome show. It's a great lineup.
So, and I love
Yeah,
the back
that's
and
great.
forth that's happening, just to be meta for a moment, but like, y'all, this is why we have icebreaking questions, is because you just never know what the overlap is between your personal and lived experience and someone else's. And like, that's the shit that the ties that bind, you know? So, I also feel like I'm going to miss the mark wide. So I'm just going to 30-second rip off the Band-Aid. My first concert was the Beach Boys because my mother wanted to break me in before anybody else got a lick in. So I was 12 years old, went to Busch Gardens, saw the Beach Boys with my mom. Lame. And in the spirit of the 90s vibe I think that we've got going, I always forget to even mention this concert because it was at the 930 Club in DC, which is a smaller venue. I saw Eve 6 when they opened up for the Cranberries. And
Nice.
I forget about it all the time because it's so deeply personal to me that I'm like, it's not cool. It was like a fucking awakening. Like I just needed to be at that concert. And the thing that rocked me about the Cranberries, because there's the radio version and then there's like the concert version, and it's like they bleed their music. The high notes are done by a male backup singer. Like she can do them too, I'm sure, but to like save her voice, she's got somebody else who can do it, and it's not even another female. I was like, my mind is blown.
Wow.
So a stunt voice, like, all right, you do it.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. Anyway, like I said, in the spirit of the 90s, I feel like I wanted to mention that one. Ooh, okay. So I have a couple more getting to know you questions.
Yes.
And this one was suggested by Robert himself. Thanks so much for this. What show shows your true colors? Like Green with Envy, if you could be on that show, what would it be? And why?
So to write on the show, to be a staff writer on the show, Dark Matter, which is a Jennifer Connelly, Joel Edgerton Apple TV show. They have one season, big heavy sci-fi, parallel worlds. The pilot's really, really hooky. Yeah, it's really good. I was watching, I'm like, oh, you sons of bitches. I was cursing them, like, no. And I was just a huge fan of it, and it escalated. It was one of those shows that escalated, and I highly recommend watching if you haven't. It's got this nice build where it's like, oh God, now what are they going to do? I have no idea how they're going to do a season 2, but I look forward to seeing how they try to do a season 2. So, but yeah, that was a big one. That's one I would say for sure right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I feel like this is another one of those where it's like, I'll watch it for you, sir. Because I remember looking at it going, once upon a time, I would have dove head into it. But right now I'm very into like the coming of age space. And when I first moved to LA, I was writing a pilot about the first job I ever worked at as a teenager. And so when Sex Education on Netflix came out, I was like, oh, someone wrote my show. I mean, not really, because Sex Education is very much about sex, and mine is more about like romance, falling in love, flirting education. But it's so well done. It's so well done. And I'm going to manifest it right now. I just really want to meet the creator because it is coming all from her. Like the all of the episodes, yeah, maybe they have other writers that come in, but like it's coming from her. And just
I met
be
one
like
of the directors of that show. I was shadowing a showrunner earlier this year. I'm one of the TV directors. did Sex Education. Worked on a few of them. Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
know where to find me. Make that manifestation real, sir. I'll work my network for Dark Matter, sir, and you work yours for Sex Education.
Okay. Let's see what we can do here.
Look, and I feel like that's why we ask the easy ask, because I'm never going to ask someone for a job. What I am going to ask for is like, hey, if you want a platform to talk about what you're doing, I'm here for you. If you like having me in a room, we'll talk about other rooms I can be in. But I'm just not going to make that presumption that one, you have a job available, and two, that I'm anywhere remotely in your sphere. So we can start with a podcast.
Yes, we can.
I personally want to proper geek out because I am a sci-fi nerd and was raised on sci-fi stuff. So the overlap of sci-fi thriller with kind of where your wheelhouse is, which is sci-fi thriller and horror, which, I'll dip a toe into horror. That's not my happy place. But I'm curious, like top 3 sci-fis. Clearly Dark Matter may be one of them, but what else would you put into that favorite category?
That's interesting. Alien, which I was just talking about, but also that's considered a horror by a lot of people too, and I think there's some crossover, and I think it's a cool subgenre. One of my favorite shows, Battlestar Galactica, Fracking Toasters. Actually met some people who are on that show. That's a favorite. Oh God, I mean, Star Wars is considered more space opera than science fiction. Close Encounters, really good. Minority Report, underrated, low key. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Spielberg, enough said. But he does this, the whodunit in that sci-fi Philip K. Dick space is great. I mean, anything he does, Man in the High Castle. I mean, it's a show, really good. I'm trying to think of others that are Tron. I mean, I'm a huge Tron Legacy fan. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah.
And
Like,
even the Daft Punk soundtrack.
Oh, of course. Like, it was a glorified music video, but also, look, and I think you know this better than most, but like the game of filmmakers isn't win all the battles, it's win the battle, right? So you got to pick your battle. And in, Tron Legacy, part of what the battle they were trying to win was simply having an updated script. And if you watch the original Tron, that shit is lucid. Like, you do not follow, Save the Cat or the heroes. Like, it goes off rails. So it just needed to be enough to hold Disney-like attention. And then music and visuals and compelling set pieces. Like, she was a blockbuster. She didn't need to be anything else. You know what I mean? So Tron Legacy did what it needed to do, and it did it well. If you expected anything more, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I don't care. So
Yeah,
you like what you like.
Indeed. I feel like
I like Tron Legacy. Go on.
Yes.
No, I wanted to hear yours because I know that you're a horror fan, but I feel like I've never dove into your sci-fi side. So, what about your sci-fi favorite?
Absolutely. I was gonna say I remember Tron Legacy because it came out when I was kind of young, but the main reason I liked it was because Daft Punk did the entire soundtrack. And I that's why I was really into it, because the soundtrack was just killer the whole time.
It is.
For my Mount Rushmore of sci-fi movies, let's see. I think Inception was like the first one where I was like, this was great. Like that's what, like, I loved Batman Begins and stuff from Christopher Nolan, but when I saw Inception and everyone was like, oh, it's so confusing, I don't get it. And then I saw it, I was like, this makes sense. This is such a great, like, movie. I loved how it was set up and built and everything. I do like Alien, the first Alien movie. I think that's just a great classic and kind of horror as well. But then my third is actually a more recent one. It's called Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson.
How was that?
That was a really funny but really good movie that I thought it was just a fun, unique take on like what outer space life can be like, but like in a realistic sense, like not just Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever, where people are like in outer space, but doing like clearly like sci-fi things. Mickey 17 felt very grounded, and it's like all the problems that are on Earth are just going to happen in a spaceship.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just really
Yeah.
good.
I mean, along those lines, have you ever seen The Expanse, the show?
Mm.
Oh,
No, I'm
dude,
not.
it's killer. It's so good. When you get past season
Okay.
1 and you get into the Mars, Moon, the Belters, and the characters, there's some amazing characters in that show. It is fantastic. I think it's on Amazon. You should watch it. It's really good. It's really,
Yeah.
really good.
Cool. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely check it out
Yeah.
then.
Ooh. Now I feel like I'm about to blow everything up because I'm yes to all. Let me just say yes to all. I always mention Serenity as part of my sci-fi lineup because it's really the reason I went to film school. So I can't not mention it. And part of that was just timing, but part of it was also it showed me that if you believe in something enough and the people with you believe it enough, you can make a thing happen. So the story behind the story was just as impactful as the actual film.
Mm,
Because that was a fan rallied film. Like it was not a
right.
fan made film, but they made that shit happen. If I'm honest, I reference Stargate, the original film, all the fucking time.
Oh, it's
Again,
really good.
it's
Good
so
one.
good. And at my first sci-fi convention, they were actually like selling screenplays as well. And so the first screenplay I ever read was Stargate. So again, just kind of sentimental sci-fi value. Yes, when it comes to television shows, I was raised on Star Trek: The Next Generation because Picard every day, all day. And I have to double down on that because yes, Star Wars, but for me, Star Wars, yes, it's sci-fi, but it's almost for me, it's almost more fantasy because of the elements that are included. The power of Star Trek is that it allowed us to explore kernels of truth to a finer degree that allowed us to then put it into reality, right? We don't have a real lightsaber. We absolutely have a real communicator. They're called cell phones. We, may not have force pull or push, but we absolutely have touch screens now. Like, y'all, you can't even look at that series and be like, oh, it's nothing. No. First on-screen racial kiss, right? Like, come on. Anyway, I'm gonna stop geeking out now because it's an easy thread to pull on. But I also think that as filmmakers, it's so easy to be like, oh, you're not in my genre. And the truth is, like, maybe I don't write in that genre, but if you look at my IMDb, in fact, several projects that aren't even on my IMDb, I have written and produced more thriller and horror than I have of any other genre. And it's not.
I'm going to call you after we're done here for the next thing.
Happy to play along. Anyway, I say that all
Never
to say,
heard of it.
even if you feel like, oh, that's not my genre, like sometimes when you're just a fan of things, you can be there for other people and help them see their dreams come true. Because I've definitely produced things with Midian as well, with her directing and whatnot. And I think what it gives you is that ability to stretch yourself so that when you finally come back to that thing that you love, like you can still pull from those same sources. Filmmaking is filmmaking. So anyway.
Oh, 100%. I co-sign.
I co-sign. I like that way better than aligned. It's just been the buzzword of late. So, hey, I kind of want to celebrate you for a minute, and we're going to move on into our little segment called the Victory Round. And I feel like part of the victory we're going to explore is this film coming up. Do you mind if we show people the trailer for Honor's Half-Life?
I guess which trailer is it? Is it the Dust trailer or is it the one that we made?
It says final. Does final work?
Is it final? Because you know how that goes. It's like, oh no, not that one. There should be an email in everyone's outbox that says, no, not that one. Because we send it, whether it's a script or cut or anything. No, this one.
So just to, pull back the curtain for a moment. So it was the one in the Google folder.
Yeah, okay, it's that one.
Matt, can you confirm that it said final? I don't remember.
Yeah, no, you can play that one.
It said final smaller.
Smaller. Yeah, we can play that one. That'll be fun.
Sweet. All right, guys, hang on to your hats because I really want you to see the epicness that is the latest from Robert
Oh,
Flowers.
you're too kind.
A gun isn't a prop, Grace.
I wasn't going to use it.
But you have to be ready to kill someone.
I could do it. If I had to.
Long time, Roy.
Take it you've already been up to the house.
You're gonna need more than that pistol.
Did you bring somebody with you? Who's gonna die out here with you today? Well, that'll be you, Roy.
That's fun.
It is fun.
I mean, she's not having fun at the end of the movie, but
Yeah.
it's just fun to see that, considering like we made that in October of 2020, and to see it now.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a really fun story of how, if we have the time to talk about how it came about, but
Yeah, man. I mean, the next segment is the victory round. So tell us about this
so
victory. It's come around.
so during the pandemic, like most people, there's a reevaluation of priorities and life in general, career, everything. And obviously, in the business we're in, it's really hard to get anything made. And there are two paths that people usually find themselves on. You're either making the thing or you're trying to get it made. Those are it. And so, and you can get stuck in the trying to get made mode for a very long time because you're waiting for permission. And this is stuff that other people have echoed, so this isn't new. But during the pandemic, using social media, I am not a social media person. I wasn't then. I made the erroneous decision, and not even consciously, to like, I'm going to just focus on writing and silo myself and write scripts and like try and do things and blah 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 blah. Where I should have done is what I'm doing now, and like even talking to you, is that you go out, you meet people who are doing the thing you want to do and learn from them and get to know each other, and you work together, and it's super fun. It's like forming a band. so during the pandemic, there's a social media app called Clubhouse, and I don't care about saying it, but there was a time when there was pretty exclusive. You had to be invited or whatever, and because no one could do anything, like production is shut down, everything was just terrible. Obviously, lots of people congregated on this app, and it was like phone chat line from like the 90s, like you just talking. And during that time in 2021, 8 hours a day on that, you're just meeting people from all over the world.
Wow.
And there was a big group of people who were industry people and like namey people, like Joe Carnahan was on there. He directed The Great, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. He was on there, and I got to talk to him like you and I are talking. And so all the stuff, and like, WG writers and people who did shows and stuff like that, we were just bullshitting the whole time because there's nothing else you could do. So I met a couple filmmakers. I'm going to name them because I know they're watching. I said I would. Gavin Michael Booth, who's known for like Scarehouse, and he had a really cool show called Dream Crusher come out. And Mercy's May. He was my co-writer on this. He's from Minnesota, and Gavin's from Canada. And we were talking just like what we're doing now about movies and what we like and what we do. And we're all filmmakers. And so like, let's make a thing. And, people talk about making things all the time. And I'm like, okay, let's make a thing. And so I had not met either of these people, mind you. They're strangers. And I'm like, okay, Gavin's like, you can come up to Canada and shoot in Windsor. And people who know him know this to be true. And like, he's very giving and like all about making stuff anyway. And Mercy's like, cool, let's work on this idea. And so I fucking flew up to Canada on a whim to make a movie with a bunch of strangers. And that's how, I don't say desperate, but that's how I just needed to do what I wanted to do, what I set out to do. And it was only in hindsight that I realized how insane that sounds. So, like, if I had a little mild panic attack, I'm like, oh, this Gavin guy could just murder me and bury me in the Detroit River. And if you knew him, how unlikely that would be. But I mean, it was October in Canada. The weather can be a little erratic, but obviously, as you saw in the trailer, a lot of stuff takes place outside. Mercedes and I had written the script, based on an idea I came up with watching this weird, messed up documentary on veterans, and my dad's a veteran and everything, and so we that coalesced. And Gavin said, "Come up here. We'll get locations. We'll get that. I'll hook it up." And he fucking hooked it up, man. So to your point about producing, those two produced their asses off for this movie. And I'm a stranger, they're strangers to me, and we all kind of came together and for 4 days in October, cast locally, um, which pain in the ass. Actor is up there. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. Whatever. I think Mercedes and I had to do a little bit of rewriting, but I mean, Gavin was rock solid. Put the crew together. All the local peeps up in Windsor, great folks to work with. The local towns, like we got the field for free that you saw there. Like we got the hookup. It was great, and my actors, coming from Canada, Toronto, and everything, were fantastic. It rained on us. It snowed on us. It was sunny. It was cloudy. Shout out to our prosthetics, like Sebastian and Mitch, who did the prosthetics of our bad guy. They had to deal with the weather changing and everything. I had squibs. We had guns. Squibs didn't fucking work. Got more blood on me than I did. My sweaters, which is next to me, has more blood on it. Probably looked like I murdered somebody going to a donut shop around there. But yeah, it was 4 days and were tough days. Schedule kind of got tossed around pretty quickly. Rain, mud, but the look was so great and everything, turned out rather well as you can see and everything. And it was just fun to do that. I mean, making a movie is hard, and I challenge people and they say, "Oh, it's easy." It takes a lot to come together and to get it done in an effective and meaningful way, and those guys really helped me doing that. And in post too, like Mercy's also scored it, and the original score is there are certain moments in that movie that I'm extremely proud of, that hold a very personal thing to me, and the score he wrote over those moments towards the end are just fucking fabulous to me, and I listen to that all the time, and they really came together at the end, and they were both very instrumental. So for the producer thing, yes, 100%. And it's been in its festival run for about a little over a year. It's nearing its end. It's it's not the lightest of movies, so I can see.
Boy, who you telling? The last film I put through the film festival is a action drama.
Yeah.
That would have no spoiler, but no spoiler. It has a tragic ending. So no matter the neo-Western feel to it, like it legit looks like a spinoff of, Hell or High Water.
Nice.
Right? So the vibes are there, but if you didn't want to like cry, I'm sorry. This may not be the movie for you. Yeah. So I feel you.
Yeah, no, it's one of those. I mean, and when we pull out the feature, which is what we're working on, because that's the proof of concept of the vibe of the feature we're going for. It's like that's this one section in it, and I tell people like, well, in the movie, like these are the parts that you'll see in it, but that is kind of the tone. But yeah, no, it was a good time.
And
it was a huge
with
learning
them, right?
experience too.
Like these new people that you met on Clubhouse, you still in contact with them? You didn't burn any bridges through this mess?
On a near daily basis. And like we've made more stuff. I've watched them make more stuff. Like I said, Gavin's doing a show. Mercy's got his feature. We share stuff, show cuts to each other and everything. So yeah, I mean, more people. Making the band bigger to make more stuff. I mean, I think I put on my Instagram, like, make cool shit with cool people. And that's kind of the name of the game. Like when I came out here, I was a little bummed because none of my friends from home came out here. And like, I wanted to make stuff with my friends. And like the key thing to learn here is like, well, then what you need to do then is you need to make more friends.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of it. And, in the last while, the 20 years I've been out here, and that's what I've been doing. And it all coalesces. I've had some friends who I've known for 20 plus years out here, and some who I've just recently met. So
yeah. I call them why not friends.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I stole that from Kevin Smith. Thank you, sir. Which is like it's totally, I have a handful of friends I've known since I was 13 years old. They're 30-year friends. I'm happy to keep them. They
Yeah.
just can't be my film friends because they're just not in that vein. And I really, in this industry especially, I need those people who, when I'm like, oh, I have this idea and I have to do it now because momentum is everything. And if
Yeah.
they're not in the why not track, they stop all momentum. Which means either the film stops or the friendship stops. So I would rather just keep people in their appropriate places. Like,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they're fans and everything. It's really fun too, because like, I have one friend, he's getting into it like through music, and it's just
Ooh,
cool. Like he's going through some of the things, and so that's super fun to watch. But then there's cool fans and super supportive, which is super important. And
yeah.
eventually I want to just get all of my friends together and like at a party and like ultimately like make one big ass movie. That would be fun, you know.
Dude, just write that Kevin Smith film, whatever it is, just write a part for everybody you know, or like with a
Yeah.
head of department or whatever, and just write the thing to have the party.
Yes, exactly.
I do want to, because that's such an epic story, and you're so right in so many ways. And I invite anybody who's listening, like, the point of the victory round, this kind of middle segment, is what is something that you have done in the last week that you're really proud of? Because some effort that you're making now, you are going to cash in on at some point, or it's the result of cashing in from previously. So what's something, Robert, that you've done this past week where you're just like, yeah, man?
Oh, it's a great question. I think, and I've been slammed this week, and I think it's the lab where we both met.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a thing that was not in necessarily my wheelhouse, although like fun trivia fact, I am a USA Today best-selling author for writing a paranormal women's romance novella, under a pen name, of course. So I'm no stranger to it, although my education in that space is a funny story, which we may or may not have time for. And Mandy, who's in the chat, is very instrumental in that. She's a famous, amazing romance author who just slays. So anyway, she's in the comment section. I told her I might name drop her. So I'm no
Mandy, reach out. We should have you on the podcast.
so I'm no stranger to it. And also I love rom-coms. Like even though I love movies in general. Like I started out just writing drama before I started lean into genre space. But when Harry Met Sally, all those things, especially in the 90s, I watched them. Like those are good. They're fun. Like we like them. And so this was a chance because like I got to try something. And part of that lab, the LA Directors Lab, shout out to Pam, LA Directors Lab. If you want a gym for directing, you should check it out. There's my plug. And so I got to do the rom-com scene, and I was like, cool, this is super fun. And it's also just radically different than what I'm typically used to doing. And so, taking swings. I'm a big proponent of taking swings. It's very terrifying when you do. Um, even Honors Half-Life was me taking a swing. I'd never done any of those things.
Yeah, man.
Diving into genre like that. And so I did the same thing with the rom-com this last week, which I'm still editing. And
Me too.
and so I'm like, I'm gonna make that midnight deadline barely.
Yep.
And it was super fun working with those actors. And on a personal like fun level, like I'm like getting underneath the scene that we were working on and trying to shoot this a different way than I normally would any of my other stuff. And so doing that was challenging, and the edit is proving challenging because I'm loving everything. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like this is another tool in the toolbox. And again, things cross over. You mentioned this earlier about, you're not my genre, this or that, but like things can still be applicable. And that is certainly true in this. So I mean, does it make me want to do a rom-com? It actually does, but it also makes me want to do some of the rom-com-y things in my genre stuff. And so, yeah, that was super fun. I'm glad I did it. You get to be in the hot seat for a bit. It's always a challenge. So, yeah.
Dude, the biggest and cheers, if I might, cheers to you diving into the deep end and doing rom-com as a thriller horror sci-fi person. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Mm. I have to say I think my victory is going to be similar to that, just because I kind of want to beep beep beep. The challenge for the LA Directors Lab for me wasn't just, hey, I haven't directed in a minute. I'm usually the container for my director. I'm not usually the director, which gives me the liberty to say what I want to say without any bars, because I have to say it. Because if I don't say it, nobody else will. Right? I'm looking at the rough cut of the edit. I need to see X, Y, and Z shot. Do you have it in your list? Cool. We're gonna do reshoots. Like, I have that power. I'm going to say it. When I'm the director, I actually recognize the power I don't have. And part of the power we don't have in the LA Directors Lab, and creativity is born from limitations, because we're not the ones casting. The question that normally comes from actors is, what do you want? Let me fulfill your vision. And I was like,
Right.
I need you to just pump the brakes on that mentality for a minute, because that vision starts in casting, which means I can't actually ask you to deliver on my vision first. I actually have to see what you bring to the table. And then I can say, this is my vision for us. So part of the challenge of the first round of rehearsals, because we have rehearsal one day and we have shoot the next day, was actually just to get to know them and hear their initial table read and be like, what is your interpretation of the motivation? What happened right before the scene, right? What's the scene where, maybe there was a chance to reveal your real feelings before, but it just wasn't the right timing, right? What was wrong with that moment, and why is it right now? And then, is this about you? Is this about her? Is this about us? Right? And just sitting and unpacking some of that and hearing their version of it gave me the understanding of, oh, you don't see these characters as steamy or raunchy. You see them as sweet, right? Or soft or sassy, right? And so what it gave me the opportunity to do is, much like the intimacy coordinator, which was the big reason I signed up, because I was like, I need
No, for sure. It's one of those things where it's like, I've not done that before. Let me do it. That is how I approach it.
Yes. And look, if the MO of an intimacy coordinator is, we must learn a new language in order to meet our actors where they are, just from that kind of tangible choreography place, then I was using that same language as a director to be like, I'm trying to meet you where you are as an actor, so that I'm working to your strength and not asking something wild and off to the left field in 2 days from you. Because that's just no. Especially since my scene, they're supposed to be friends, which means there's a certain level of comfort and chemistry. And both of those things had to be visible in front of the camera in less than 48 hours.
That's the grind, right?
So I say that to say, I think my victory was, I allowed myself to go through that process so that I could fall in love with my footage again. And I owed it to everybody on that project to fall in love with that footage again, because it does not matter what I did not get. It only matters what I got and how it comes together, because no one knows what the puzzle should look like. No one knows. And because no one knows, I have the ability to find the magic. And that has been the hardest and best part of editing.
It always is. It always is. Again, perspective is a powerful thing. Like, oh, it doesn't work. I went away several hours yesterday. I'm like, this cut doesn't work. I like this from cut one and this from this other shot. I can't put them together. And I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, I can. I'm just going to do this. And because I'm judging every minute thing happening from one cut to the next, of course things are going to stand out, and I'm going to just see what doesn't work. But again, we need to be, if you're the director, you have to represent the audience. They don't get the rewind and back and to the left. They don't get that. It's going to come at them in the pace you deliver. And then how it lands is how it lands. And that's it. You're rewinding that same clip 10,000 times. And it's like, her hair does this, or the shoe is here. It's no one gives a shit about that.
No one gives a shit.
No one will care. They're going to be they're going to be glued to their eyes.
And before, because we're about to move into our last segment, which includes our shout out to our sponsors, I just want to highlight this for you, Robert, because I know, especially when you're like knee deep in the work, and I can already hear from your process, like, you know, your craft, you really do. And I think what happens when you're so like neck deep in craft, you don't actually realize how you show up in the industry and inspire other people. So I know you don't see the leader in you, but allow me to tell you this one thing. Another filmmaker that I'm going to have on this program a little later, she actually now directs original Tubi features. And 5 years ago, she directed a short in, as part of COVID as well. That short ended up distributing on Dust. It got the attention of some producers who were like, hey, if I give you this budget, could you make the feature? And she was like, hell yeah. Made the feature within a year after that. And she is now, and because of that feature and subsequent shorter projects, she is now, a regular director with Tubi. And so I say that all to say, Dust looks small on the outside because it's a YouTube distributor. Although, full disclosure to people who are visiting right now, like, do not dismiss YouTube distributors. They're actually major distributors now. So if you get distribution through a channel on YouTube, like, celebrate that MFR because it's big and Dust is big. So this is a huge win. And I'm so excited for what it will lead to for you, because I'm sure it will lead to big, big things, and well-deserved, because you held on to this project for so long for it to have this moment, this day. So cheers, sir, to you and your success, because this is only the beginning.
I appreciate that. And again, I couldn't have done it without the team that was very supportive, the crew and the actors and my producers. So, yeah. I look forward to making the feature version of that. So,
yes. Okay, I just want to switch up for a moment because, Robert, we only have you for a little bit longer. Part of the reason that we love doing Biscuits with Bosses is because we're all making efforts to keep ourselves sustained, but also keep the industry sustained, right? So, for example, we have all had mentors, and without mentors, we could not have survived long enough in this industry to move forward and become mentors ourselves. So I love to kind of unpack, what are we doing? What efforts are we making to elevate the filmmaking process right now? And I feel like I've heard parts from yours, which is like, get involved in Clubhouse, or like take that risk and, possibly be killed in Canada. And it could be something small, like on set. We had one producer who mentioned, usually you say thank you to your crew at the end of the day. And she's like, we just made it part of our safety meetings. And so you could start your day with gratitude instead of ending it with gratitude. And I was like, oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So it could be something small like that. It could also be something that's a larger undertaking. But yeah, anything that occurs to you that you feel like you're making an effort towards.
I love that gratitude at the beginning. I've seen people do that, and I think that little huddle up you do at the beginning of your production, set the tone. Ask a question. It's okay if you don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm fucking doing. Yeah. I'm making it up. We're all making it up. The idea is to be safe, be courteous, and do your job, and that's really what you can ask for. But I'm not trying to be a jerk to anyone and belittle them as part of like making myself feel superior or anything. And I think there was a little bit of that. And yeah, it was friendly hazing, people think, but I do think when you're trying to get into this business, which is already hard enough as it is,
Mm-hmm.
what you can do is be supportive. And I think that starts at the bottom. I know, there's a whole other conversation about people trying to do stuff at the top, but really it starts down here when you're getting in, like encouragement, to be like, it's okay, like, that's a C stand, or like that's a sandbag. This is a C-47. Why do they call it that? It's a bullshit term to make things be more expensive, because that's how film stuff works. But I think being open and welcoming to people is a big thing, and I don't want people to experience my experience when I first started. So, don't be a jerk. Try to be better than you were the day before. I mean, that's my goal. It's not a competition between me and my contemporaries or peers. It's just me trying to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, sound advice. Truly. And honestly, I feel like that's just a mic drop moment. I feel like we can't end on anything better than that. Thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate you being here today. For those of you in the audience, if you would like to follow him, you can find him on Instagram at Robert Flowers TV. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe to his YouTube channel, Addicted Undead Studios, also Robert Flowers TV. If I may, since we have all those mentions about Pam, like a little genie out of a bottle, it just so happens that next week's guest is going to be Pam Carbonaro. She is film
Yay!
director. Yay, Pam! The cult expands. Wait, no.
Shh.
She is film director, first AD extraordinaire, and founder of the LA Directors Lab, now celebrating its second successful year. Be sure to tune in live next Friday at 12:30 p.m. PST. That's 3:30 p.m. EST. And of course, we'll leave the link for you to follow along with Pam on Instagram as well. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Owl Echo Entertainment, your host for Biscuits with Bosses, and we will see you next Friday. Bye now. Oh, you're still scrolling through. I was like, what is this thing? This is not the
Sorry.
Biscuits with Bosses. Oh, it's fine. I was like, where are my faces?
Now we get to say goodbye. I get to go back editing. I'm at the very end of my scene. Oh my goodness, so much work.
I did the other way around. I started with the ending and then I feel like I'm in the weeds. So I then went to the beginning and now I'm like finessing the middle part, which is actually the hardest because it's the turning point. So I think you did right. But
No, the middle was holding me up too. I spent all day yesterday just trying to cut the middle, and I'm like, I give up. So
Yeah.
I got to get the clock stick, and we have 10 hours.
Yeah, man.
10 hours to get it done. Okay.
If you need to jump on a Zoom and just like have eyes on, let me know. Just know that the stutter is real. So the playback is going to be weird.
Okay. I might have to take you up on that. So
I'll be here. I'll be here. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Wherever you're listening from, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really does help. This episode is brought to you by Off Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Wear your hat, hoodie, or t-shirt about town or to those oh-so-important networking events. Check out the different off-duty versions at offdutythanks.shop. And be sure to grab something for your favorite friend in the film, television, or media industry. Today's episode was also made possible by Owl Echo Entertainment. You can learn more about them and their production work at owlecho.com. Head over to owlecho.com to see what we've got coming up. New podcast episodes, events, writing workshops, and consulting services. Today's episode was hosted by yours truly, Kay Ross, co-hosted by the incomparable Matt York, produced by the amazing Lane Ewing, edited by Matt York. Yeah, he really does do everything. Opening music by The Midnight with their track America Online. And of course, follow us on Instagram and TikTok to stay in the loop. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. Bye now.